I sold $1 million home and was like, this is a crazy amount of money at the time, and was like so blown away that I did that. And then I did that with 5 million and 20 million and 50 million. Brokers ask me all the time, how did I do that in a very short period? I actually developed almost like a gratitude for sales ability, and I figured it was a tool that I could use for anything. I ended up going in contract for $5.5 million with him. Then he canceled and I wanted to like die. But then immediately I got him back into a contract and sold him something for $6 million.
Do you feel like we're headed for some carnage economically, or do you feel like we're going to recover well? Welcome to another edition of Lifetime Cash Flow through Real Estate Investing. I'm Rod Cleef, and I'm thrilled you're here. We have a very unique guest today. His name's Carl Gambino, and Carl is a very interesting guy. He's really well known as a celebrity real estate agent, and owns a bunch of different types of real estate, which we're going to get into. But just to give you an idea who he works with, so he sold Wahlberg's house for $55 million. He's worked with J-Lo, Alex Rodriguez, A-Rod, the Jonas brothers, Renee Zellweger, Travis Scott, and on and on and on. And huge real estate sales company based in LA, New York, and Miami. And we're going to have a lot of fun talking about, big name investors or high net worth investors and the strategies he used to create the incredible roster of clients that he has, which is really extraordinary. Carl, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you bet. Now, I know you've got a very interesting past, and you now have a real estate company that does what, $400 million a year? Around,
yes.
Okay, you're a very modest guy, by the way, which is really cool. And and the fact that you're here to add value, you don't really have an agenda, is really cool as well. So I'm really excited to get to know you. And so talk a little bit about your background. Where'd you come from? Because you started to allude to it before we started recording, and it's fascinating.
So I was born in New York. I grew up mostly in New Jersey. I come from like an old school, loving but like limiting, kind of negative Guido family. Wow. And I got in a lot of trouble growing up. I was pretty much an alcoholic from as young as I can remember. I got really addicted to drugs and alcohol. I ended up having to go to a rehab from 19 to 21 in Jamaica, Queens, and I lived there.
Wow.
And when I got out, I had no clue what I wanted to do, and I got sober. I'm 16 years sober now.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. And I, like, out of a movie, met some guy at a party. He was like Alec Baldwin and Glenn Ross. He had like slick back hair. He had a license plate that said closer. And he was like, you should come talk to me. I own a brokerage that sells multifamily real estate in Manhattan. Wow. And I was like, I don't know. I've been in trouble. I did always love architecture and houses too. I used to make my older friends drive me around and look at big houses in New Jersey. I always had overwhelming ambition. At my family, we always had what we needed, but we didn't have money at all.
Right.
And I was always like obsessed with wanting to make a lot of money, and had this like crazy ambition that I would almost stuff down because it was not the environment I grew up in at all.
Oh, well said.
And I told the guy, I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. I've been in trouble. And he's like, no. I went to his office, and he's like, this guy, the top broker, you see him, and he pointed to some other guy. He's like, that guy went to prison for murder, for manslaughter, and then ended up getting his license. They helped me get it. I wrote all these letters to the state.
Yeah, because they do a whole background check to get licensed and stuff. And so I was just thinking the same thing. Did that background cause you a problem? But
I had to prove to the state of New York that I was sober and all these things. And from there, I started in multifamily sales in Manhattan and Brooklyn. The first property I sold was I think a 6-unit building with 2 stores in Park Slope, Brooklyn. And it took me about a year to do it. I was so broke. I worked as a coat check at night at a restaurant.
Wow.
And I would just cold call all day long. And then from there, I knew I loved multifamily and loved real estate, but for some reason I didn't love being a broker. Like, I kept getting screwed over. People would cut me out of deals. I'd send them deals. They'd go around me and show up there and buy them. So I kind of stopped doing multifamily sales, and I did various other things from there. I did rentals in New York City in the summer, which you can make a lot of money. I would make like $5,000 a week. It was like this crazy racket, which was
Well, please explain. I don't understand.
So in New York City, the tenant pays the fee, which is normally 15% of the annual rent.
Oh, so if they're going to lease an apartment, the tenant pays a fee to get that apartment.
Normally, that's the marketplace, unless the market tanks and it switches to an owner pay market. But most of the time, the tenant pays.
Interesting.
So it's excellent sales training in the sense where they call you, they basically hate you, they feel like they're overpaying you. You have to convert them to liking you, showing them places, and doing a deal all within one day. And
wow.
I always say that was like the greatest sales training.
And guys, those of you listening thinking, well, how does this apply to multifamily? It absolutely freaking applies to multifamily because you're selling all the time. You've got to sell a broker on you. You've got to sell a seller to sell to you. You've got to sell investors to invest with you. And you just referenced sales training that you got from doing the leasing. I mean, you could do it selling cars. You could do it. My boys making outbound cold calls for selling roofing. There's so many ways, door to door even for the roofing. Door to door salesmen, by the way, are some of the best there are. But so if you haven't had any formal sales training, get one of Grant Cardone's books. Educate yourself on sales because it's such a critical part of this business. Sorry to interrupt. Please continue.
One thing I forgot to mention is I was given sales books. I was given Napoleon Hill's books.
Yeah, Napoleon Hill's are great.
There's a book called Succeed and Grow Rich Through Persuasion that was kind of life-changing for me.
Nice.
Of course, Think and Grow Rich too. Right. And I actually developed almost like a gratitude for sales ability. And I figured it was a tool that I could use for anything.
Love it.
Make a long story short, I moved to the West Coast, stopped doing real estate. My wife says I followed her because we broke up and got back together.
Oh, nice.
And then I thought I wanted to do creative things. I was wrong. I went broke and was just tired of being broke. So then I got my license in LA and got into residential in LA. And I got a job working for this massive agent who is one of the biggest agents in the world in high-end residential, which was excellent because I was desensitized to watching these people do like $100 million home sales and sometimes represent both sides. They rep tons of entertainment people, some of the wealthiest people in the world. So it was an incredible environment. It was basically like a shark pit where you had to sink or swim, but it was a great environment to just watch outstanding success over and over again.
Wow. And
from there, I kind of, obviously caught the bug to want that. I mean, I always had it, as I said, but it increased it. And
so
then
let me stop you if I may. Don't lose that spot in line here. You just want to, cause you're saying a lot of really good stuff that I want to hammer down on a little bit. So you saw incredible success. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? I mean, you saw incredible deals being done, obviously, but were there any specific nuances of these salespeople that were doing these extraordinary deals that you can talk about, or we could?
Yeah. What I noticed is the way that they thought. Like
okay.
Their thought process was so elevated and beyond anything I had ever seen in my life. Where they were like, "I am the absolute best," or "I'm so educated," or whatever. Their confidence, and not even arrogance, like just their confidence was so educational for me because I wasn't from that kind of background where they were literally like, I'll sell $100 million home and double end it with no problem, or I'll make multiple millions per transaction, or I'll sell hundreds of millions to billions per year and turn around and buy a ton of property. It was just, I had never seen transactions and that kind of confidence before in my life.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that confidence came from success, or the confidence created the success?
I think there's multiple types of people. Now that I've been around some of the wealthiest, most successful people, right. I think there's some people that are born that way where they just have that incredible belief in their own ability. I think there's people like me where you have to develop that, and I've spent thousands of hours developing that. And I think with success, you constantly are able to elevate that. I mean, I remember I sold $1 million home and was like, this is a crazy amount of money at the time, and was like so blown away that I did that. And then I did that with 5 million and 10 million and 20 million and 35 million and 50 million. And and brokers ask me all the time, like, how did I do that in a very short period? Because I probably built the whole business within now I've been doing it 8 years straight, but 6 years we were really, really flowing. And it was just about constant mind elevation. And I think in sales in general, people don't give enough credit to, it's a mind game.
Do you feel like you had to fake it till you made it? Did you ever feel that way?
Yeah, in many circumstances.
Like imposter syndrome? I mean, I teach that at my boot camps. It's like, hey, everybody started where you're starting, okay? And so sometimes you got to act as if, you got to walk, and breathe like and maybe revisit something you're super proud of that you did in the past, and how you breathed, what you thought about, how you carried yourself, and bring that energy to whatever it is you're going to get into, like multifamily investing, as it were. So that's fascinating. So not only did you build your own skill set, and how did you do that? You read all the books? Did you do any courses, anything like that?
I've read hundreds of self-development books. Okay. I listened to them. I did what they say. I practiced them. I literally would read my goals out loud. I would obsess about them. I would manifest, like meditate if I could calm my crazy mind for long enough to do
here,
it.
Yeah.
Like saw myself in possession of the thing. Kind of actually the exact program it says in Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I know it's a super unbelievably circulated book, but it really is brilliant.
I've given away 3,000 to 4,000 copies. I'm not exaggerating at all. 3,000 to 4,000 copies I've given away.
I give them. I just gave one to the doorman in my building. Like,
no kidding.
It was life-changing for me.
Right.
And what I quickly realized about where I was working in Los Angeles was that if you represented entertainment people or high net worth individuals, but even more entertainment, it was power even more than money, which I wasn't used to, where, not saying I had power, but they did. So I rapidly pursued those type of clients, not because I even cared about celebrity, more because I knew I could grow the business really rapidly in that way.
So I'd definitely like to drill down on that a little bit. So I know you said you're very good friends with one of the Jonas brothers.
Actually, Joe Jonas is like my dear friend who I met in Los Angeles when I was a dog walker.
Wow.
He actually helped me. Like, he would come with me to walk dogs, and then I think I did 3 transactions on the buy side. Like, I did one with this guy that I was trying to get to rep me as a writer, because I was trying to do creative things at that time. And the guy's like, I'm never going to rep you as a writer.
Ouch.
And then I was like, oh, I heard you say you're looking for a home. And he's like, oh, you're a realtor now too? And I was like, I am. I've done it before. So I sold him a house, ran out of money. Sold another guy I met in an acting class a house, ran out of money. And then the third one was this huge LA developer who was he wasn't a nice guy really. And I overheard him say he was looking for a house, and I was his dog walker. Wow. And he's like, you're a fucking dog walker. Like, why would I use you? And I was like, you know everything. And then I told him I worked at the firm I was mentioning earlier, and he's like, no way. And I showed him my business card. And I say this all the time. This is why it's helpful for agents when they start to be on, significant teams or align themselves with people. Because in that moment, just having that business card, the guy let me show him. I ended up going in contract for $5.5 million with him, which was going to be life-changing. Then he canceled, and I wanted to die. But then immediately I got him back into a contract and sold him something for $6 million.
Wow.
$250,000. I made a bunch of money, and Joe, my friend, had seen that and was just amazing and was like, I'm about to sell my house. He knew I had never had a residential listing.
Wow. And
he let me sell his house. And from there, I sold it very quickly, and that was how I kind of realized the whole entertainment thing was obviously fantastic clients.
So what did you do at that point? I mean, obviously you had the springboard with Joe, which obviously is huge. Did you ask for connections? Did you talk about some of the strategy you used to connect with some of these incredible people?
I think I believe so much in manifestation and attraction. Like, even meeting Joe, I used to walk around like as a dog walker, reading like, I'll attract and work with excellent, well-funded developers, house flippers, celebrities, like things like that. I remember I would read, I'm going to be on the Hollywood Reporter top realtors list, and it was laughable. Like, I was picking up dog shit, waiting for my license in the mail.
Wow.
And now I'm on New York, LA, and Florida Hollywood Reporter list, and they gave us an award. And like at the time, I remember how ridiculous that was. So I did that further once I represented Joe.
I got to stop you again, man. This is really good stuff. Guys, you hear me shouting this shit from the fucking rooftops that this stuff works. Here is an incredible shining example that this freaking works. Wow, man. I mean, you know, I've manifested everything I have in my life as well, and visualized it, and thank God for it before I even had it. And you're doing all these things, and look at what it's done for you. It's fantastic, man. I just got to shout. I just got to put a pin on that. Amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you were manifesting this stuff, but obviously that got your mind right, and that got you head in the right direction, triggered your reticular activating system, so anything popped up, you'd see it. But I mean, I'd like to really hear more on the mechanical side. What did you do?
So from there, I basically contacted every single business manager on earth, because I realized that business managers represented tons of entertainment and high net worth clients, and they were kind of the gatekeepers into the residential real estate world. And I started to align myself and make relationships with them where if you did a great job, and I always went above and beyond, like I did anything for clients to like, and I worked 7 days a week obsessively. Like I would go to sleep obsessing about the kind of clients and things I was going to do and the deals. I'd wake up from it. Like that's how obsessed I was. And from there, I think in any sales business or any business, if you obviously identify who the people are and then obsessively take positive construction action to reach out to them. And then part of the manifesting I'm saying is like getting yourself to believe you're going to get them. And then from there, I just went out every single night for years straight. Like every night of the week I was out. Every single person I came across, if it was a trainer at the gym, someone cutting your hair, a billionaire, a fucking parking meter, I didn't care. I would talk to them in 2 seconds. They knew what I did. I would be like, where do you live? Or I would get across that I did real estate, and I got unbelievably educated on my market and the market data. So when I met someone, even if I had no experience or sales, they could just sense that I was like such a killer in my business and so educated that they were willing to give me a shot. And then I also think kind of likability type selling, if people want to see you succeed. And I see a lot of salespeople where they're afraid because of inexperience. And I've had the opposite experience where some people are happy to give you your biggest sale because they want to see you succeed because they like you.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's huge. That likability thing is freaking huge. I want to circle back to something you said about educating, how you were so educated was it in the marketplace or just your business in general?
Both.
Okay.
Where if someone was like, hey, I live on Tower Road, for instance, in Beverly Hills, I could tell them every person who lived on Tower Road, which house is sold, like why this house didn't sell because it was too close to the street, etc.
Got it.
And even as I started investing myself and buying properties, like I bought a house in Sag Harbor to rent out as an investment. And I obsessively studied Sag Harbor for like, not even a long period, maybe 2 weeks, but like nonstop looking at all the data to the point where like when I showed up in Sag Harbor, I knew what was a deal and what wasn't, and I knew how to find a deal. So
back to likability for a minute, because you're a really likable guy. Do you work at that? Is that just your natural personality style? How do you manifest being liked by other people? What's your strategy there?
I think some of it comes with like natural how people are born. I think humor is a huge thing. I think especially when people are buying assets or doing anything in business, it's obviously you have to be serious in your craft, but if you incorporate humor, it just makes it that much better. And people want to do business with people they enjoy being around, and I think humor creates that. I think if you, even in the Napoleon Hill things where they talk about, one thing I got really early on is where they mentioned this thing called your other self. And I don't know at the time if it was because I was so like nuts from getting sober or whatever, but I always understood what that meant, where you like become the best version of yourself, where you're almost like this superhuman of yourself and you can achieve and do anything and you abolish fear. And I think when you get in that state and you're doing, I think each person has to figure out the things that make them that version of themselves. And then when you're in that state, I mean, if it's exercising, if it's meditating, if it's listening to these books or reading them or whatever it is. And I think when you're in that state, you become magnetic and you can walk in a room and, you know, even in any sales business, if you're raising money for multifamily or whatever it is, I think you can become like a magnet of attraction. And adding what I was saying earlier, where you unbelievably know your data or market or whatever you're selling, is just another tool for, you know, allowing people to say yes.
Yeah. Same thing applies. I mean, all of these strategies apply to raising money for deals, for building relationships with sellers and brokers and everything else that you need to do in this business. And, you know, you studied this. So I've got a question. Have you slowed down at all, or are you still ramping and reading and doing all these things that you've done up to this point?
I should slow down. I have 2 children.
Wow.
I work 7 days a week. I haven't slowed down. I've kept expanding markets. We've expanded into New Jersey, into Long Island. I've been building a real estate portfolio in the sense of me and my wife, I mean, we own multifamily, triple net. Houses I buy often as well because I know it.
The big house is like $5 million a piece.
Like $3 to $5 million.
No.
Houses in LA. There's areas of certain, you know, sub-markets that I'm in that I believe in. In Miami, I've flipped houses before. I've bought in Miami. I actually came down to Miami in 2020 because I could sense a rush was going to go there. And I remember I bought a dry lot, like kind of shitty modern house, and all the top brokers in Miami were like, why would you buy a dry lot? Like, what are you doing? And I was comparing it to Beverly Hills, where I was like, AAA Beverly Hills is 100 million plus, and teardowns I'm selling for 13 million.
Wow.
And I was looking at Miami, like the best pockets of it on the water were, let's say, 20 to 30 to 40 million, and these dry lots were like 2 to 6 million. And I could just sense that everything was going to explode.
And it did.
Yeah, and I bought multifamily in an area called Alapata, which is, a friend of mine owns a big art museum there. So that's another thing I like to do, is study the markets, obviously, and see what's coming, jobs, education, things like that.
Did you drive over here from Miami today?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Wow. Thank you for that, by the way. It's a 3-hour drive, I know, because I used to live in South Beach when I was single last time. And I'm looking again because I'm single again. But, wow. So
if you need a broker, I can help you.
That's funny. That's really funny. How old are your kids?
3 and 6.
Okay. Can I give you some can I give you some coaching? Would you permit me?
Yes.
Okay. And if you want to cut this out after I say it, we can cut it out. But I can tell you my greatest regret in life was coming home to my mansion on the beach, playing with my kids at night, but not being there mentally. It's my greatest regret to this day. And I tell my students this, you know, this path to success, it's not successful if you lose out on things that you can't get back. And, you know, my kids will tell you I was a great dad, but I didn't live up to my own expectations. And so, you know, I would just caution you, my friend, because you can't get that back. That's my 2 cents to you. So take it or leave it.
No, I understand that entirely.
Yeah. Okay.
It's really difficult.
Yeah. No, I know. And you want the success so bad, and you're doing so incredibly well, but we don't want regrets, man. That's a regret you can't get back. And like I said, my kids love me and they say I was a great dad, but I missed so much. I missed so much of that growth and those beautiful times and those times you tear up because they're so amazing. Anyway, sorry to put a downer on that, but so you're expanding into Jersey and Long Island. You're already in 3 markets right now. Talk about how you built your team.
Well, we have expanded into those markets.
Oh, you're already
so now
in
we're
those.
in 5, basically.
Oh, you're in 5 now. Wow, fantastic. So, how have you built your team? I mean, you're a really smart guy. Did you bring in operational people to help you do this? Talk about how you built. Maybe when you first started your first office, was that in LA then?
Yes.
Okay, first office is in LA. How did you grow to where you are now? Just some stages.
With many mistakes.
Yeah, well, that goes without saying. Yeah.
I think, so basically, first it was just me doing a million jobs like a lunatic at once. Then I hired someone, her name's Addie. She still works with me.
Wow.
She's amazing. She kind of evolved into my director of operations.
What'd she start as?
I guess an executive assistant.
Yeah.
And
I tell people that's the first thing you hire is a freaking EA. That'll open up your world. And it's so funny you say that, because the person that is now my director of operations was an EA as well when she started. So that's cool. Sorry, please continue.
that I give her credit. She changed my life. And
Right.
then we started, basically that enabled me to just be able to sell. And she kind of handled everything else, where before that wasn't.
Right.
Then, as I said, A-Rod asked me to go on some show on CNBC. I think I told you that before.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
And I went on as his like real estate advisor. And then from there, I it was weird because I didn't want to be on TV. And that show though, from there, agents started to reach out to me and ask me my advice or questions. And that is kind of what sparked the idea of the team. And also, I always wanted to expand back to the East Coast, but I didn't know, and I didn't want to lose making the money I was making in Los Angeles, but I didn't know how to do that. So then I assumed the only way I could do that is if I went national with the business. And I remember I was talking to Compass, had recruited me at the time, and they were like, I think at the time they thought I was crazy, and now they're like, you actually do what you say, and they've kind of gotten behind me on it, or they have. What I did, one mistake was I just basically hired random people that I knew who saw me become successful and wanted to be successful but weren't willing to put in the effort. So that was like a huge time suck and a lot
Very common, by the way. Yeah.
And I mean, I still have a few dear friends who do work with me who are doing amazing. But I had to shed some of the people, and it was a nightmare. So now we've kind of developed an actual system, like a set standard. We don't just hire any agent. They have to do a certain amount of business. They have to have a certain mentality. They have to kind of fall in line with our brand, which we consider, and what we're building, like an elevated, elegant brand that's not flashy, like all the real estate stuff you see. Like, we just want to sell a ton of real estate and be experts in our craft. So we've had to develop almost like a handbook for that. And it's just organically grown from there. One thing that was helpful is I started, like, there's a manager in New York, for instance, who's helped me a lot, which when new agents interview at the firm or things like that. And we've just started to put the word out there, and we get a lot of inquiries, but it's difficult to filter through them and find the right, like I'm adding.
So it's the hardest thing out there is to find the right people. Yeah. No,
because they have to be a representation of you and how you service your clients. And it's, it's difficult. I mean, you see it in any business when they grow, like this level of service goes down.
Yeah. So you have tried lots of different things. You wanted to be creative, a writer. You went to acting school. You obviously wanted to be an actor. Do you feel like you're where you need to be right now?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But it took some time to...
It took many years and
Right.
many different careers and
Right.
many different struggles and to find
So
kind of my niche.
what would you say to people that are where you were back then? They're in a rat race job. They know they deserve more. Maybe they have a family, maybe they don't. What words of encouragement or advice would you give someone in that place?
That if I can become entrepreneurial and build what I have, that basically anyone can if they just... and one thing I would say is, for me, this self-development material was key to getting me to where I am. I almost look at it like going to the gym for your mind, where if you wanted to make your body, like if you wanted to get ripped, you would eat healthy, exercise, go to the gym, feed it good food and nutrients on a daily basis. It's the same exact thing for your mind. Yeah. And if you want to get to that place that I was talking about earlier, like that other self where you're just like, I can do anything and fear is beneath my intelligence, that you have to feed your mind on a daily basis positive, good, constructive things. And that's why I think in those books they tell you to constantly read the goals out loud. And they say where your mind starts to believe something, you tell it over and over again, even if it's a lie, it's true. And most people kind of go through life like I used to, or the way I was brought up, where they would be like, money doesn't grow on trees, like things like that. But I think most people just float around daily, have no set goal, or even if they do, they're focusing on the things they don't want, like fear, or not enough deals, or not enough ability to raise money, or there's not enough transactions, or whatever it is, just, or I can't pay my bills, or how am I going to do this or this or this. And where if you just switch the script, which took me many years to learn, where you're like, no, that's beneath my intelligence. Like, I'm going to get these type of clients. I'm going to raise this much money. I'm going to buy these type of properties. I'm going to buy a house where my family can enjoy by the beach, whatever you want to do. Like, I enjoy traveling in Europe with my kids, like things like that, where if you just flip the script of what you're thinking, it's life-changing.
Couldn't agree more. Now, let me ask you this. So you read your goals out loud. Is there any other strategies that you use? Because I've done things where I've recorded myself saying, I now have this, 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 and this. Have you done vision boards or anything else that you do?
I used to do vision boards back in the day. I haven't done them in a long time. One thing is, whenever I'm not working, I'm listening to one of those books, or so I'm listening to like thousands of hours of them.
So on your way over here, you were listening?
Yeah, I listened to it the whole time.
No kidding.
Most of the time, maybe 80% of the time.
Wow.
And I think when you're writing out the things you want, what I find, especially in a sales capacity, is if you put what I call like motivators, I guess. I don't know. But where words that, even if it sounds cheesy or ridiculous, that motivate you beyond belief, where you're writing like, I'm a fucking animal.
Words
like,
are powerful, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm extraordinary. I'm a fucking success. Whatever it is. Yeah.
Like I'm a machine.
Right.
Like, and another thing I did, not in a negative way, I looked at all of the competitors in my business and I studied them beyond belief.
Smart.
And I actually can honestly say, when I see someone in my business do like a huge sale or things like that, I don't feel jealousy. I'm like, wow, that's amazing that these are the kind of transactions and that's the kind of money you can make. And I look at it like, if that person can do it, then I can do it. And I think that's another real motivator, but it's really about taking unbelievable obsessive action to change, like radical action to change the way that you think and to get out of fear. And most people don't even realize that that's what's happening, that they just go through life in fear.
So you've read a lot of freaking books, okay? Where do you see what I've got? Well, you saw what my library downstairs. I've got probably most of the books you've read as well, because I'm a big advocate for this. But what are yours? Rattle off some of your favorites. Obviously, Think and Grow Rich. That's a no-brainer.
I love Succeed and Grow Rich Through Persuasion. That's Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone.
Okay.
Secrets of the World Class by Steve Seibold, I think, is excellent. William Walker Atkinson, Thought Vibration, is an incredible book.
Now, was that a predecessor to Napoleon Hill, that book, William Walker?
I think Napoleon Hill actually was after William Walker Atkinson.
Really? Yeah, that's what I thought too. Okay.
And you could kind of see this, like, that Napoleon Hill could have read him. Ralph Waldo Emerson is great. And I love James Allen, As a Man Thinketh.
Oh, yeah. That's huge. Yeah, that's the world, the prison, in the prison camps?
No, that's Viktor Frankl.
Oh, that's
Man's
Viktor
Search
Frankl.
For Meaning. That's right. A good book too. It's sad though, very sad.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about mentors for a minute. Okay. I mean, you were kind enough to say you suffered through some of my podcasts during COVID when you were going crazy. Did you have mentors in this journey?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I've been really fortunate with excellent mentors.
Yeah.
I've had mentors who originally gave me those books.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah.
There's a person who works with me now on my team named John, who was a developer in LA, who pushed me into the business. He's mentored me. Another one of my friends runs a big hedge fund in LA, who's mentored me beyond belief, like building his name is Ed, building a financial life.
Wow.
I've had, your podcast was super motivational for me during the COVID. I went out and bought a ton of property from there. I'm also obsessed with art and have built a great art collection. But
no kidding. Oh, cool.
Your podcast was also like, all right, chill a bit. Like, I mean, you didn't say this directly, but just by listening to it, I was like, all right, I need to chill a bit and focus on buying. And then from there, I've bought all sorts of, I mean, I was buying them before as well, but it was just another push I needed. And now kind of have properties I do have properties all over the country and kind of every variation of property. Another thing I would entice people to study is cost segregation. I'm sure you've talked about it before.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we've had people on the show. Yeah, for those of you who don't know what that means, cost segregation is accelerate your depreciation. You know, the straight line depreciation, 20 years, and you're able to accelerate it. And now with bonus depreciation coming back, both the House and the Senate have agreed they're going to pass bonus depreciation back to 100% again. Cost segregation is kind of a no-brainer. It even beats 1031 exchanges at this point, in my opinion.
That's been life-changing for me as a broker, because you can use it to put it against your brokerage income for federal.
Oh, no kidding.
So I've been able to acquire a bunch of properties that way too.
So you're buying property to offset all your massive income. Good for you, because you're a real estate professional. Hello. Yeah. Wow.
And that's been life-changing for me.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, I haven't paid taxes. I mean, I shouldn't say that publicly, but I haven't in decades, you know, and that's the beautiful thing about real estate. And then I did say that publicly. Actually, I got a ton of hate, didn't I? I had Robert Kiyosaki. I did one of those reaction videos to something he said about not paying taxes. And it's like 1.4 million views now. It's up to 2 million? No shit. And I get so much hate. You deadbeat, don't pay taxes. I'm like, listen, there's a reason they made those laws to provide housing for people. But, well, good for you, man. Because
I've even took it further to buy kind of specialized use properties. Like I bought an oil change in Tampa.
Oh, wow.
Where you can have an even larger cost segregation because of the equipment.
Oh, interesting. Good for you, man. Wow. How do you manage all these different assets?
I try to get my wife to do it, but that doesn't. She helps me with it for sure. Okay. Some of them are triple net, which aren't that hard.
Those are easy. By the way, triple net, guys, is where basically you, like a Walgreens would be a triple net. You know, very often it's a single tenant use where everybody's, and it's not necessarily just single tenant, but where they pay everything. Okay, the tenant pays the taxes, the home, the maintenance, the insurance, and everything else. So there's not a lot to do with one of those. You know, the upside isn't going to be as large typically, but very stable as long as you check out the tenants. Very stable, safe, consistent asset. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been buying multifamily in New Jersey because my cousin is a contractor there, and he's been managing properties for me there.
Nice.
For homes, I try to buy, if I can, newer construction homes that have less maintenance, where it's one tenant and it's not that difficult to send plumbers or things like that. So if you're buying high-end kind of modern boxes from 3 to 5 million in certain markets.
And you're not able to cash flow on those, are you?
No, no. Definitely.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. Well,
even
it's
with
harder.
Debt?
It's harder right now, but yes, we
Wow.
we are with debt.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Give me an example of a monthly rental amount.
Well, some of them I was buying when the rates were very low, so obviously those are cash flowing. But where I bought one property for $3.5 million. It's 5,000 square feet. I've already sold houses in the area for over $1,100 a foot, so I knew it would go to like a $5 million house. The value would appreciate. I actually think it was worth kind of 4.5 while I was buying it.
Wow.
I think I do rent that for $21,000.
No shit.
You know, in that range.
Where's it at?
In Los Angeles.
It's in LA. Okay.
The rent ratio to purchase price in LA is excellent.
Wow.
Whereas in New York City, it could vary, or the Hamptons is also excellent. I usually don't want to be in seasonal markets a ton, or owning a lot of properties there, but I have a house that I rent seasonally that is fantastic.
So you do a lot of research. Do you feel like we're headed for some carnage economically, or do you feel like we're going to recover well?
I don't know. It's so up in the air. It's like,
nobody knows.
I've already thought it was going to collapse multiple times, and then it just keeps trucking along. In residential real estate, there's still a massive housing crisis.
Right, and there's massive shortage.
Yeah.
I'm not talking residential. I should have been more clear. In like multifamily and commercial.
It sounds like in multifamily and commercial, there's a lot of loans coming due where people can't pay.
There are.
And I think that's obviously opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
yeah, we've got a deal under contract right now. Oh, screaming freaking deal. If you're an accredited investor, you need to go to creecapital.com and check this deal out, or text the word partner to 72345. Screaming deal. Anyway, yeah. So so you're right. There's a lot of debt coming due. I was just curious if you had a take on it, but I'm very bearish right now.
One market I've been studying a lot where I want to acquire multifamily is Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, yeah?
I like Columbus.
I am actually flying out there next Tuesday to look at an asset.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that's the market I'm very interested in as well. So hopefully I'll beat you to that one.
It sounds like you are.
So let me ask you a question that I ask a lot. Okay. Now, typically it's a question that relates to the multifamily journey, but you've got such an incredible journey that, I don't care how you answer it. Talk about any aha moments that you've had, and you've alluded to some of them already, but epiphanies where you're like, holy crap, now I get it. Anything come to mind when I ask that question?
There's one portion of all of the material I've studied where they talk about, and you touched on this a little bit, where you should never be satisfied with your success, and you can keep climbing to higher and higher heights. Mm-hmm. And it's a fine line because, as you discuss with balance, even with children.
Right.
But I remember I sold this property for $55 million, and all these people were congratulating me. It was in the press and all this stuff. And I was just thinking, like, that closed. I need to find another deal immediately. And I then took a pause and was like, actually grateful that was my mentality. Yeah. And it wasn't that I was ungrateful for the sale. It was more that I was like, wow, I've actually developed what they say in the material, that I've become this kind of just expecting nonstop success and elevation.
That is really insightful, because you are really looking at yourself like an observer and coming to that realization. And that's really powerful, that you're congratulating yourself because of your mindset, not so much on the deal, which is extraordinary. That's a huge one. Great answer. Let me ask you this. What is the driver at this point? I mean, your kids are set for life. Their kids are probably set for life. What's the driver that gets you to continue to jump out of bed? Obviously, you're still feeding your mind. By the way, I want to circle back to something you said, and that is, around the fact that you did that $55 million sale, and you're looking for the next deal. In my opinion, if you're not continually growing, you're dying. I don't know if you feel the same way.
No, I feel exactly like that.
Okay, all right. So, but what's the driver? What's the why at this point?
I mean, it's a combination of things. Like, I just have higher achievements that I want to achieve. Okay. I would like to set my family up to where we grow the assets even further, to there's a certain threshold or dollar amount that I have as a goal that are coming in, to where, like, if they wanted to move to Europe and never work again or things like that.
Okay.
I mean, living in the 3 cities that I live in is very expensive. So sure. That keeps me going. And truly, as I said earlier, I want to acquire more fantastic, incredible properties, especially architectural properties that I love.
Oh, cool.
And also, as I was talking about, my art collection. I'm unbelievably obsessed with art. It makes life better to me. And that's a very expensive habit as well. And the last thing I'll say is, I really have come to a point that I enjoy training salespeople.
Yeah.
And that has been kind of quite wonderful, even though it's been stressful. And at times I've wanted to give up even with that. But when you train someone and you see them succeed, there's someone on my team that I trained in LA who, sold close to $50 million last year. She's doing amazing. Like, that feels incredible to work together and have that partnership. And I've been wanting, and that's also why I've been speaking lately.
Yeah, no, that's the answer I was looking for. Because
giving, like, it just feels good to, like, and it's not that I'm so amazing, but I'm just saying, if I've gotten to this point, like, I can give it away to other people.
Feels good to add value. I was telling you, that's why I do this. That's why I keep killing myself to continue to do this, because it feels so good. I mean, I don't know about you, but I know I'm sure you get a lot of love on a regular basis as well from people who you've impacted. And I was so impressed with the fact when I asked you, if you had an outcome for being here, and it was just that, you want to start speaking, and you felt good that you were doing that. You said you spoke in front of a few thousand people recently, and I think in Tampa, and it just felt good. And
in Palos Verdes.
Oh, Palos Verdes. Sorry. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Well, regardless, you liked it, and that's why you're here. And I was so impressed with that. You really didn't have an outcome, because I get people that want to raise money or want to sell something or whatever, and that's not you. So, well, listen, brother, I really appreciate you coming over here and being on the show. It's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it, and you've added tremendous value today.
Thank you for having me. And thank you for doing this. It kept me going in COVID.
Well, I really appreciate that shout out too. It's great to meet you, brother.